All right. First of all, I just want to really acknowledge our crowd. The atmosphere at Mackey was it's really better and better every week that we play, and really appreciative of the support that our fans gave us last weekend. It was really great, especially going down the stretch in a close game. Just to have that type of atmosphere was really important for us. We really needed this game last week. It was the kind of game where there were some mistakes, but we had to grind through the rough spots and show mental toughness and finish the game. And I was proud of a lot of things in the game. We had too many mistakes, too many penalties. We had not enough touchdowns in the red zone, obviously. We had 2 interceptions. Our pass protection was poor, and that's not typical of us. We had a block punt and a 4th down fake, which are not typical of our special teams either. Those are things that we got to really correct. But I was really proud of how our guys fought. We played good, solid defense. We were really strong on 3rd down defensively. Our pass defense was excellent. I think we grew there as a team. I was really proud of the last drive offensively in the first half, and then the way that we ran the ball. I think we ran the last 3 minutes and 25 seconds out in the game. That was really a positive that we can take with us. We answered the challenge of the game, and now we've got another challenge this week to go to El Paso to play on the road. They are 1-1 on the year. They're a growing team that's trying to establish itself. I've known Dana Demmel for a long time. Competed against him when he was at Kansas State when I was in the Big 12. Excellent pedigree, knows how to win and coach a football team, so they'll be very well prepared. Their offense is trying to find a rhythm. They played a couple different really athletic quarterbacks. Scored 36 points in their first game against Houston Baptist. So they're certainly capable of scoring points. We have to do a great job of containing, especially the quarterbacks. Their defense, they've got some really athletic defensive linemen, quality linebackers. They've got some new starters in the back end. So we're going to have to do a great job on the road communicating and executing and protecting the ball on offense. Overall, we just want to get our rhythm offensively. We're 2-1 after our first quarter of the season. We played 3 really physical games. And so we got to bounce back from that and get ourselves ready to play this week. But it's really important that we finish this non-conference schedule off with a real positive note and proving we can win on the road. So that'll be critical for us as we move into conference play.
Coach, you wanted to see defensive improvement in this last game, and you did. What does it mean to you, or how reassuring is it that you did see those leads?
I think one of the things in coaching today is just the mental toughness of your kids, and kids having consistent mental toughness. When we talked to them last week, it's kind of like we had it the first game, and then when we went on the road to Oregon, it's kind of like having sand in your hand. It kind of falls through, and you lose it for a little bit. But we got it back this week, and that's really important for our team. I just think our defense played really responsible. They played their responsibilities. There wasn't any problems with communication. We played very sound in the back end. We didn't get out of position, and I think we're capable of playing very, very good defense if we do those things. I was proud of our young safeties. I think we grew last week, and we have to continue to improve and show consistency. That's the challenge of college football, is to play consistent week in and week out. So we grew a little bit on defense last week. The challenge is to repeat that type of performance again on the road and not get distracted or get any doubt. So that'll be the challenge for that group this week.
You mentioned you want to score more touchdowns. What has been the biggest issue when you get to the red zone, not turning that into 10 or 7 points instead of 3?
The biggest problem we've had is penalties offensively. And, And we've been really good in that area the last couple years. And so we just have to, we have some inexperienced players, at quarterback, at center, in the secondary, and we've kind of been just taking turns making error, at each one of those spots. And so we just got to control the line of scrimmage. We got to be better on our snap count, more consistent, and so we don't have illegal procedure penalties. It's very difficult when you start 1st and 15 to convert and keep the chains moving. So we got to eliminate that. We've got to eliminate the red zone penalties, which have hurt us, the holdings. Those have been uncharacteristic for our union. I really challenged our offensive line this week. We take a lot of pride in the union of playing clean, of playing penalty-free, protecting the quarterback. Those are all things we didn't do last week, and we have to do a better job. So really challenging our offensive line to play better this week and to lead us up front. And we have enough quality players to be able to do that.
Fair to say, for the offense to get to where you want it to be, it has to start with the union, with the offensive line.
No question. And coming into the season, I was excited because I felt like we had enough experience and depth in both lines to really give us a foundation for a solid team. And we got great leaders up front, and Jake and Nate Brown, and those guys got to lead us and make sure that we get the execution we need up front. And it's very difficult to win if you don't play well up front in the offensive line. And we got to do a better job of protecting the quarterback. We can't let our quarterback get hit. The last 2 games up at Oregon, and then this past week, we gave up too many sacks and too many hits on the quarterback, and that starts affecting a young player after a while. So that's important that we do a better job of protecting him.
How is Carson physically? I mean, it seems like he's wincing on a lot of plays.
Yeah.
How is he holding up?
He's a little banged up, and I think it's been a great learning experience for him the first 3 games. Tough opponents. It's your first 2 starts against Purdue and Oregon. It's not easy. And this team here, Weber, will be one of the better defensive teams in the country. And so, he's had a tough assignment these first 3 games, but he's learned a lot. He threw for almost 70% this game and 300 yards, which is pretty good. And but he also made some mistakes, and that he's got to do better. Throwing the ball away, he's got to get it clearly out of bounds. That was a big learning experience for him. And there were a couple other mental errors on that play that forced us into a bad play and a turnover. And but he can definitely play much better. He's going to have to learn to play to take some shots and keep coming back, and so that's part of all the learning process for a young quarterback.
Coach, was the margin of victory any concern for you? I imagine you want more consistency moving forward. It seems like the first 3 games kind of end up and down.
Yeah, I think we've learned a lot in the some of our positions. As much as you would like to overcome inexperience, sometimes it creeps in and it rears its ugly head. And we've seen it. We've kind of taken turns in these first 3 games, whether it's our secondary or our quarterback or our center. Some of our younger players that haven't played a lot of football, have made some inexperienced mistakes, and we have to learn from that and continue to improve. I think we made some real steps in that last week, especially in the secondary. But now we have to be consistent, and that comes from really focusing in on your job, being responsible for what you're supposed to do, and preparing the right way every week. The way we practice and prepare and go on the road is important, and we have to learn from going on the road. It's as much as I didn't want to say it, when we went to Oregon, it's kind of like Gene Hackman in the basketball movie. The gym is the same size as it is in Hickory. We're going to go play at UTEP, and we're going to play on the same field. And we have to do a good job of handling playing on the road and being mature and not being distracted.
You talked about obviously breaking the season into quarters, 2-1 through the first quarter. What do you want to see in the second quarter?
Second quarter, I want to see improvement in every area of our football team. More consistency offensively, eliminating the penalties, protecting the football. and then just playing very consistent defense. I think that's really important. We want to build a defense that's consistent. I love the fact that, our defense wasn't on the field very much last week. I think if we can move the chains offensively and protect our defense, we can have a great year. And that's special teams as well. Our special teams put our defense in some bad situations last week with the block kick and then the fourth down conversion. I mean, there's really no excuse for giving up a fourth down fake like that. We backed them up. And it's just guys playing their responsibility, getting off blocks, reading it. At worst, that should have been a 5-yard gain, and we never should have gave them the first down. So if we protect our quarterback better and we protect our defense better, I think that's a real formula for success for our football team.
Gabriel said, too, that the win over Weber State was an ugly win. What do you guys need to do against UTEP in order to make it a good win, a pretty win, whatever you want to call it?
I think we just need to improve our consistency, our preparation. I really challenged our leadership to do a great job of leading us on the road. To keep the focus of our young players, to understand the importance of special teams, and to continue to take a step in our understanding. After you play 3 games, you kind of see, different looks defensively. You see a lot of different offensive schemes. And after 3 games, you're going to start to see a lot of repeats from your opponents. And so we have to learn that the things that have hurt us defensively, we're probably going to see again. And so we have to learn how to play those plays. And so a lot of the repetition that we're going to start to see, we've got to play it well. And if we continue to do that, we'll see success.
Brandon Tolton was honored again by the Mountain West, and rightfully so. Just talk about his performance and what he's done for your team so far.
One of our mottos is to be at your best when you're most needed, and Brandon has just done his job. He hasn't tried to do anything spectacular. He's so consistent every day the way he kicks, and that's a credit to a guy being focused and being prepared. He gets great height on the ball, and that's been important because the kicks that he's had have gotten up and gotten off on time. So just mature beyond his years. I'm very proud of our coaching staff because we've done a great job of finding a guy who's a walk-on and bringing him to our campus, and he's earned a scholarship in a short amount of time. So that's a credit. Angus McClure has that area, and he made that extra stop to go into Vacaville to check on the kicker. And then Tommy Perry did a great job of following up and getting Brandon to come here. And so, Quentin Conway was a walk-on that we found and evaluated and brought in here, and he's one of the better punters in the conference. So, really, really proud of Austin Ortega, who long snapped for us this week as a walk-on. So, those guys have made significant contributions in the kicking game, and they've all been walk-ons. And we have to get those kind of contribution from those guys to have success.
What's been your assessment of the running game so far?
I think the running game has been good in spurts. I was really proud of the runs that we had in this game. I thought, Taua had some excellent runs, and Jackson Kincaid has been running very hard. And I was really proud of the end of the game, being able to take the ball at the end of the game and run the clock out. That's a huge step for us. We got into 3 tight end formation we call Rhino that we haven't been in since I've been here, but we have 3 pretty good blockers now, and Reagan Roberson and Krishan Lapham and now Henry Ikahihifo. And Henry's emerged as a tight end, as a guy that can play physical but also can run routes for us. So that's a dimension in our football that we haven't really had, that we really want to be able to exploit. And that physicality and having those edge blockers is important because we got to make those tough runs in games as we go through conference play to be able to beat good teams. And that should also take pressure off us on the road. We take a lot of pride in our backs being one-cut runners, and we expect that to continue to grow and be an important part of our game as we move forward.
You guys feel you had enough commitment to the run early in the game because you threw a lot of passes against a 1AA team. You would expect that. When you did commit, you ran the ball. Is that just the way the game went? You want Carson to
Yeah,
develop that?
we really wanted Carson to get off to a good start. We just felt like, the week before we didn't get him off to a good start, completing passes and getting rhythm. We had a lot of quick game lined up for him. We wanted him to get the ball out of his hand quick, and so that was by design. But we also, Weber did a good job of loading the box up and challenging us to throw the ball, and so we felt like we needed to attack him that way. And that'll change week to week. We want to be the kind of team. Obviously, we love throwing the football, but we want to be able to run the ball when we want to. And some weeks that's we're going to be a more run emphasis team. And so we got great backs, and we want them to be able to carry the load for us when we need it, when we need that. So we'll look at the opponent and see where they're vulnerable and try to lean on the areas that we can attack them in.
Jackson had arguably his best game at Nevada. What does he add to that backfield, that core of guys that you have?
I just been so proud of how hard he's running. He's really running hard. He's got quickness. I think he's really done a really good job this year of following his blocking pattern, and I think Vi's done a good job of teaching these guys where the hole's gonna be. And when you trust that as a back, that's when you really make yards, because you're fitting in. You're complementing where the line's blocking, and you're fitting in that crease where the ball's going to go. And so Jackson's done a great job of that. Taua's done a great job of that. And we just have to continue that. I think as we go along, we're going to become a better running team. And I just really want to see us offensively get in that rhythm where, we're running, we're passing, we're playing at a high tempo. The first two games we were playing some really quality opponents, and we kind of wanted to slow the game down. Now we want to start getting in a rhythm and run more plays. I think we ran 90-something plays last game, 95, and I think Weber ran like 45. So we want to continue to run more plays, get the ball to our playmakers more, spreading it out. And as we go, I just see us playing faster and faster offensively.
He's almost hit Jackson, his carry total from last year. What has enabled him? What has allowed him to earn more carries so far this year?
I think Vi's done a good job of just getting those guys opportunities, and really we tell the players all the time is that you really control your touches. I mean, the more that you play well, the more that we'll give you the ball, and you earn the opportunity to touch the ball by the way you practice. That's the way it's always been. And guys that respect the ball, guys that know what to do, guys that really practice at a high level, man, when we see the tape, we want to give them the ball on Saturdays. So that's something that we've tried to establish here. And, we'll find ways to get the ball to guys that are practicing hard. And that's what's happened with Jackson.
Is Devontae Lee close to returning? It looks like he's
close.
Would he be eligible to play this game? Or
he's getting very close. We felt like, the conference play would be his return date. We're probably going to stick with that, but he's certainly available, and he's practicing, and we're just really excited. We didn't know originally when the year started, we didn't think we'd get him back till November, and he's far ahead of schedule, and that's exciting for us.
Romeo obviously didn't play last game. What do you think his availability is this week, and what is the injury that he's dealing with?
He's dealing with a day-to-day head injury, and so we're expecting him to be back, hoping that he can be back on the practice field tomorrow. And we thought that he would be back by the end of last week, and so he's progressing. Obviously, we want to be careful with him and we have a long season. We don't want to jeopardize one of our better players. And for us, the most important games of the year are our conference games. So this is an important game, obviously, and we're hoping that Romeo will be back by the end of the week, and we feel like he will be.
Seems like you guys really want to develop Carson and see where you can go with him, but do you envision Christian getting on the field, or how does that play out?
I do. I really think, and I felt this, and I don't know why I felt this. I just felt this, the dynamic of our quarterback room, that we were going to play multiple quarterbacks. I feel like that Christian is going to have to win us some games. I feel like Malik Henry is going to have to play for us before the season's out. We'd love to get an opportunity to play both of those guys. As a staff, we have confidence in both of them. We feel like they both bring really good qualities to the team, and they've earned the right. And obviously, it's never been our nature to play multiple quarterbacks just because. But if the situation arises, we will not hesitate to play either one of those guys, and we feel like they're both prepared and ready to play.
How do you balance that? Because you want Carson to go out there and
Yes.
play and not be looking over his shoulder, but you also don't really know what you have in the other two guys until they get out of it.
Right, and I think that just comes with the opportunity. If for some reason we have to play Christian or have to play Malik, we won't hesitate to do that. And we're trying to get them ready in practice, giving them meaningful repetitions. And especially if Carson's a little bit sore, we'll spell him for a couple days and let some of those guys get some reps. And if we have an opportunity to do that, we certainly will.
How would you evaluate Carson's play today? I mean, obviously Purdue game was great, and then some turnovers the last couple of outings.
I think he's played extremely well in spurts, and then he's also shown areas where he's got to improve. I think he played really well the second half of the Purdue game, showed poise and confidence, leading us back. I think the maturity he showed at the end of that game in the 2-minute drill was really special. I thought he did a great job this last game at the end of the game and the end of the half, leading us into the halftime and the scoring before the half. I thought he did a great job at the end of the game. But he's had spurts where he's got to make better decisions with the ball. The 2 turnovers he had against Oregon, he has to learn from. And then this past week, not throwing the ball out of bounds is something that he's got to understand. I told him it's got to be like the old Kevin Costner movie where you throw and hit the mascot. I mean, he's got to throw the ball clearly into the stands if he's throwing it away. And but he's got to learn from that. And he's a young player still. He's got to learn from his mistakes and continue to get better.
When you talk about playing more than one quarter, you don't mean to change the starting quarter. You just mean
No. I just feel like over the course of this year, I just had a feeling we were going to have to play multiple guys, and I don't know why, but I just think those guys are going to have to be ready, we watched the great documentary on the old Weber State game 91 where Nevada had to come back and they played quarterback in the second half, and that's something that we're going to have to do, I think, at some point this year, whether it's just because Carson's not seeing the field as good or because of injury. I think that, we're going to have to play multiple quarterbacks before the season's over with.
Did you at all think about doing that this past week?
No, not really. We really didn't. Carson was managing the game well. He had a couple of misfires, but at the end of the day, he was in control and did a lot of great things. So I thought he threw the ball over the middle really well. And, we were the best that we've been on third down. We were 11 of 20 on third down, and that's been as good as we've been here in the last couple years. So, he's not a finished product. He's still learning, but he has to continue to grow and understand that he's got to be better.
Is it fair to say that Malik and Christian are better running quarterbacks, that you can do more with the run game with them?
That's fair to say that they probably are a little bit more athletic than Carson. I think that's probably fair to say.
Would you do an option package with them, with that sort of thing?
I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Yep.
Questions for Taua?
What's your season been like so far? I don't think you've been 100% healthy most of the year, but still going out there and being productive.
No, yeah, it's been good so far. Just trying to stay patient. Just battling with. I battled with a little injury coming off with a little thigh contusion, but nothing too serious. Just looking forward to the next week.
What do you think is the key to you making people miss? I mean, it seems like the first person that hits you does not take you down, and that was maybe more evident in the fourth quarter of the last game than any. What is that intangible, or what is it about you that allows you to do that?
I don't know. Really, it's just something that's installed in the Nevada back room. Always try to make the first guy miss, never go down by one guy, and just always try to go forward.
You seem to be playing, 3 running backs a pretty good amount. Is that more difficult for you to get into a rhythm when that's the case, or I guess do you like it because you're not taking on quite as much of a load from a physical standpoint?
Personally, not. I like when Jackson comes off or Kel comes off, and they give me a little feel what it's like. You can hit this one harder, you can hit this linebacker a little bit harder. I like coming in, going off a feel what they feeling like, and putting in my little 2 cents.
Jackson's gotten off to a really good start. I'm sure you're really happy for how he's run. What do you think is kind of taking him to the next level this season as far as, as a running back, whereas last year he was kind of used as an X factor and in the pass game a little more?
Just knowing the game more now, I feel like Vi does a really good job helping us see a lot more things and seeing things before they even happen. And I think he's just an excellent player. The way he comes out and works every single day, and the way he studies his films and puts in the extra time, it all shows.
Doing some quick math here, it looks like you guys, running backs, had 11 catches coming out of the backfield. Is that something that's important this year with the young quarterback? Are you guys emphasizing that, hey, Carson, look for me in the flat or something like that?
Definitely, just always being an extra target for him, extra check down. If all else fails, we'll always be there. Just help him get in his rhythm a little bit. Just the deep bomb is not always going to be there, so help him heat up a little bit with those little check downs. All comes a long way.
Do you guys want to run the ball more last week? I mean, were you going to the coach and say, hey, let's start running the ball here?
Definitely. Last we always want to run the ball, so we're always in the coach's ear wanting to run the ball a little bit more than what we was doing.
How big was that last drive for you guys to show that you can put the game away?
Very big. Something that Vi emphasizes every single day. That we got to bring the energy all 4 quarters, and we got to bring the same intensity. And it showed that you can rely on the backs in the 4th quarter, and you can give us the ball when you need us.
So how much nicer is it to just prepare for a game coming off a win rather than a loss?
It's just consistency, really, just coming off and trying to maintain that same work ethic as if we were coming off a loss, big loss from Oregon. We coming into Weber State really focused and, trying to strive to, get that W. Now it's just do it again.
How cool was it to see your defense play the way it did last time out?
Oh, those guys, a bunch of meatheads on that side, they do it every single day. It was no surprise to us. I see it every single day, and seeing them do it to somebody else is a good feeling.
The next team you're playing with, UTEP, wins have been hard to come by for those guys the last couple of years. What have you noticed right away just watching film and preparing in the early stages for this team?
Physical. They're a physical team. It's my first day watching film for them today, but they're a pretty decent sized team. Definitely can't take them lightly, and you got to just attack them as if they're any other team.
You went over 1,000 yards for your career. What have you learned in this year plus, accomplishing something like that? It's a nice little milestone, but there's more to reach out there. I feel like I have a lot more goals ahead than just that. So, next thing is, I'm really focused on winning the Mountain West Championship. So, that was just a shrug on the shoulder. Just let's go get something bigger.
You feel like the result at Oregon, was the sense that a win is a win, whether it was Weber State or a Division II team or whether it was Washington? You guys needed to win. Was that the sense last week?
Well, definitely that's the mentality every single week, to get a win. But I feel like we could have done a better job of doing it. We had a lot of missed opportunities on a lot of things, and we left a lot out there that we could have picked up and kept driving. But I mean, it is a win. A win is a win, but there's a lot of better ways to be about it and do about it.
You guys went into the red zone quite a bit against Weber State, but only one touchdown. I guess what do you guys need to do better to turn those opportunities into touchdowns rather than field goals?
Just finish, just having that same mentality when we first started the drive. Just trying to finish every single drive that we do, and that starts in practice. Just having that mentality at practice. Always wanted to finish and never leave anything on the field.
You guys go onto the road, 3-10 under Coach Norvell on the road. What are the biggest challenges just trying to take what you do at home into an opponent's stadium?
Just what Coach Norvell emphasized that, it's the same field, as if we was in Mackey. It's the same 100 yards. It's all about what we do on it, and just trying to bring that same mindset out there.
Anything else for Taua?
Yeah, what's Carson like in the huddle when things aren't going well? You just throw a kick or something like that. Does he keep that even keel?
He's a calm guy. He doesn't really panic too much. He'll sit back and let you know that we want to go score, we're going to go do this, we're going to go drive, and he keeps his composure. He's not everywhere, like most quarterbacks is, and I'm really comfortable with him. He really helps me out a lot.
All right. Thanks, Taua.
Thank you.
Question for Lucas.
UTEP's obviously struggled a lot over the last couple of years. I guess what are the challenges with them, just in your brief analysis so far?
What I've seen, they do some funny formations. They have a very athletic quarterback, and they have some very good skill players too. We just have to play really sound, disciplined football.
They've used two quarterbacks with Jones and Loxley. Are they very different? Do you have to prepare for them differently? Do you have a feel for who's going to play in this one?
Yeah, similar. It's definitely similar style. We need to watch more film on them, but definitely similar style. Athletic quarterbacks, they can, when there's pressure on them, they're able to scramble out of it and still make plays. But yeah, I think as we get more into the week, we'll have a better idea of kind of how dynamic the two are.
Obviously, Weber State's different than Oregon and Purdue, but you held them to about 140 yards. What did you guys do so much better in this game than the first two?
And I mean, Weber State's a good team too, and I think that finally we just on defense, everybody was doing their job. I think that was the biggest thing that we noticed was, there wasn't just mental errors as much as there were in the first two games. They're still there, and there's still a lot of things we need to get better on technique-wise too. But there was just definitely a lot less mental errors, and guys are flying around. Guys were flying around in the first two games too, but there was just the mental errors. Hustle can't really fix that sometimes.
You've been in the program for so long. I mean, I know again it was Weber State and all that, but was this is this one you're going to remember? I mean, was it key for you guys to just get back on that right track?
It was big, and no fault. Like Weber State again, to me, I don't really look at it as it's Weber State or anything like that. They're a talented team, and I was happy the way we played. But definitely we needed to kind of get back on that right foot because we were struggling those first two games a little bit, and I think there was some confidence issues, especially with some of the younger guys too. But a lot of the younger guys stepped up and played really, really well, and I think they needed that too, to have that confidence boost.
Going along with that, I'm sure you guys heard, heading into this game, 129th in yardage and this and that, and I'm sure that got old. But coming out of the Weber game, do you guys feel like, okay, this is what we're capable of more so than what we showed you in the first two games?
Yeah, we have to. I mean, we kind of have to always hold ourselves to a higher standard. And there were some things, that we missed, that their quarterback sometimes would miss too, or just luckily our pass rush would get there. There was times where, we were still out of alignment or out of coverage a little bit. So we just got to clean up. But I think we have done better than the first two games, especially in the past, yeah.
Going on the road's been not always the best for you guys, but and I know Oregon's a supremely hard trip. Is there anything you need to do differently for the El Paso trip? I mean, preparation or anything you can tell us?
I think the biggest thing is to stay just focused and always treat it as a business trip. You are going on a plane and stuff, and I think And for young guys too, it can kind of seem like it's like a fun like vacation almost in a sense. But I think the biggest thing is just staying super focused and treating it like a business trip, and noticing that it's still a football field and there's only 11 guys you're playing against. You're not playing against the crowd or anything like that. It's still a football field and a team you're playing against.
How do you keep the younger guys focused?
When I was a younger guy, it was always the older guys telling us, stay focused, stay diligent, and that's the same thing now. The older guys just kind of have to keep them riled in. When you kind of see something, guys are getting a little rowdy, you just kind of have to bring them back down. But they've been doing a good job.
Going back to UTEP and 2 quarterbacks, in your time as a player, have you ever come across that where you could possibly face 2 QBs in the same game preparing for it?
Off the top of my head, I can't remember, but I'm sure we have in the past. Yeah. Right now, I can't. I mean, Oregon came out; they had 2 quarterbacks too. We played against 2. Weber State, we ended up playing against 2 as well. But as a dynamic threat, I can't think of one. But we just have to prep like any other week too.
To see improved defensive play that you saw this last time out, how awesome was that to see that?
It was great, man. We had guys all over the place making plays. We weren't relying on just like 2 or 3 guys making. I think everybody was making great plays. Especially like Lawson Hall stepped up too. They moved Gabe out to outside, Lawson to middle, and I think he led the team in tackles that game. I mean, he played really well. A lot of guys stepped up that game.
Northern Nevada as well as anybody in the program. What's it going to take to get the crowds to come back to Mackey and fill the place? And there's only 14,000 people last week.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a process that's going to take a while, or do you think it can turn around quickly?
I think it does kind of rely on us. Do I think it can turn around quickly? Yeah, I do. I think the more we win, the more exciting games that we, show out there, the more fans will come, and hopefully, they're not always down to the wire, like Purdue was. But hopefully, the more we win, I feel like the more fans will come.
After the Oregon game, you said that you wanted the younger guys to ask questions, make sure they know their assignments. What have you seen in terms of the biggest change from that game to where we're at right now?
From what I've noticed, I feel like the younger guys aren't really looked at as younger guys now because they are kind of fitting into like asking questions and understanding, and rather than just like waiting for it to happen in the game, they execute it in practice because they ask those questions. I think they're just maturing. I think that's the biggest thing. Just in these first 3 games, it took some maturity to happen, and they've been doing that.
Coach was saying too that you guys like to break the season down into quarters, 2-1 through the first quarter. What do you want to see in this second quarter?
We're going to take it game by game. We like to have a winning record in each quarter as we break it up in a 12-game season, so 4 quarters. But yeah, I think right now, the focus is on UTEP, and just we want to just keep getting win after win.
Is there anything you guys need to do in this game to hash some things out in order to prepare for the conference part of the schedule?
Defensively, just continue to execute. I think that's just everybody doing their job and just playing as physical as you can.
You mentioned earlier guys flying around and making some big plays. How about that Daniel Brown? Another kind of goofy-looking interception, but all 3 of them seem to come at key moments. You look at him as kind of a big play guy.
Oh yeah. He's one of the. I think he's one of the best corners in the nation right now. The kid's a very, very talented player, and he just has a knack for the ball. Yeah, it kind of looked goofy, but knowing Daniel, it's just like he has a knack to find the ball, and when there's a time where it pops up, he's able to get it somehow, and it's really fun to watch.
You guys are playing a lot of young guys in the secondary. Has anybody in particular kind of stood out to you, either with this play or the dedication to the game or the work ethic or the film study that he's putting in?
They're all growing. They really all are growing. Just on the top of my mind, Austin Arnold's stepping up. He had to learn it a little bit, but he played well. And he's stepping up. And then I know the back end is they're always talking to each other about how we can get better. And I know Daniel Brown at corner, he's a huge leader in the secondary, and he does a great job with the guys in the back end too. And I think they're definitely going to be getting better each week. I know that they're dedicated.
You guys have all said, you guys want to win a Mountain West championship. That's the goal this year. Do you feel like the way you guys are playing right now would lead to that? Or if not, I guess where do you guys need to improve as a team to get to that standard?
The biggest thing I think is just each week we have to improve. We can't have, setbacks. We can't, come off a win this week and then, or this last week against Weber State and then, not play as well because we're, on our high horse thinking we're doing well because we had a win. And we kind of saw that against Purdue. We had a big win against Purdue and then played didn't play well against Oregon. Each week we have to play better and better and better, and then as the season goes on, those meaningful football games in November is that's what we want to have.
With UTEP coming off a bye week, do you feel like that could make them that much more dangerous, or not so much?
I mean, they'll be fresh. They'll have a good game plan. Defensively, it comes down to what we do. If we execute well and we play physical, it's always hard. If a defense is executing well and playing physical, it's hard for an offense to be productive. They'll have to really throw the ball into some tight windows if the defense is playing well, and that's what we want to do.
How much confidence do you guys have as a team when you guys send Brandon Talton out there? Because the kid hasn't missed a kick since he's been here.
Yeah, he's doing amazing, man. I mean, no one really knew who he was when he first came in, and then he just every time he steps on the field, I'm like, oh, well, here's 3 points, or here's another point. We just kind of there's like a certainty in it, and it's really assuring for the whole team.
Doing something on Jackson, he's gotten off to a really good start this year. You've been with him for 4 years. What do you think's put him in this position where he's getting more carries and more of a share in the offense?
From what I've seen, Jackson's just always been very even keel, very steady, and always has worked his tail off. In the weight room, has always worked really hard. He's always asked questions in film and stuff with the coaches and everything, and there's just never been issues with him, grade-wise, everything. He's just a very straight arrow, and I think when his time's called, everyone knew he was going to do really well, at least internally in the football team, because he worked for it.
You guys use a lot of running backs. What's different about trying to tackle him or stop him as a linebacker, or what are his strengths as a player?
Yeah, and in the fall, they're all really difficult to tackle. Jackson is really elusive. He's got great balance, and he's got a really low center of gravity. He's not a very tall guy, but he also drops his pads really low. So it's really hard to get under him. And a really strong kid too. He runs really hard.
Anything else for Lucas? All right, thank you.
Thanks, guys.